Hi guys, happy Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, Tipsy Thursday, Throwback Thursday, whatever Thursday you're celebrating. I hope you're ready because Dorit Kemsley is talking all about her split from PK. Lindsay Hubbard's baby daddy has officially been revealed and reported, and Hannah Berner is blaming Kyle Cook and Loverboy for why she got fired from Summer House. So let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hi guys, happy Thursday. What's going on? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. I finally tried to get back to the gym this morning because I was like, my brain needs to run. Like I needed to run to clear my head, and I also just needed to sweat out whatever the fuck cold I have right now. Which I thought it would have been kicked by now, but I mean, to be fair, I've been nonstop, and even today, I have to go back into Spotify in a little bit to go tape more episodes of Disaster Daters. So we've been up, we've been doing the things, we've been working and taping and going into the studio and recording, and I've been at the hospital every day this week. So just an update. Things did take. I know things were looking well when I was on the show yesterday. It looks like things have taken a bit of a turn again. So we shall see. But thank you for all your well wishes. Thank you for all your prayers for my grandfather. I will be seeing him as soon as I wrap at Spotify today. I'm heading back to the hospital. But I'm glad that I got to like fit in a good run today because I was like, I need to sweat. I need to just let out all of all of the stress from work and everything. Just, you just need I love running, and I feel like it's been my safe haven. And the fact that I have not been able to run because I've just been so tired and exhausted and sick the past couple of days. It was good to get in there and be like, just to sweat it out. And I was sweating. And I was like, oh, yes. And then this really cute guy, he has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is very frail. And I don't know why he drags her to the poor gym. This poor woman is just like, she looks like she's iron deficient, and she was barely struggling with those 5 pounds. I props to her, but I was like, beefcake over there. And this, frail little birdie, I was like, what is going on? If he's single, I could use a distraction. Um, you need chicken soup. I do need some chicken soup. I've like not been eating very much these past couple of days either. I got home. What time did I get home from the hospital? Maybe like 10:30. And I was like, fuck, I need to like eat dinner. I had like a protein bar and coffee and stuff. And I was like, fuck, I need to eat dinner. And so I had like shrimp that I had got at Whole Foods earlier that day. And I was like, this is what we're eating. I normally don't eat this late, but I need protein in my body. So we doing the damn thing. We out here, we living, right? We living, we doing it. But I do 2 quick shout outs, and then we'll get into the tea. I promise. I know I'm rambling, but 2 quick things. If you have a story that you want to submit to Disaster Daters, I'm literally taping this within a matter of, we're taping new episodes within a matter of hours, and this will be your last chance to submit for a minute. Disaster Daters podcast at gmail.com. Disaster Daters podcast. Disaster Daters. Yeah, Disaster Daters podcast at gmail.com. I'm going to type it into the live chat. Send in your story and send it in like now. Send in your story. My 30th birthday is on Saturday. I want to cameo from Happy birthday, Cassie. Happy early birthday. What's today? Thursday. Your birthday's on Saturday. Happy your 30th birthday. Oof, I celebrated my 30th last year. But guys, Disaster Daters podcast at gmail.com. Send in your stories like ASAP, like literally ASAP, so we can read it. You can stay anonymous. Just make sure you include in your email that you want to remain anonymous, or you can use a pseudonym or whatever. But however you sign up for your email is the name that we will use. Okay. And then last thing, the Pop Report. We've been building this show for the past couple of months. It's doing well. It's doing well on YouTube, especially. Like, people are listening to it on the podcast, but it's doing exceptionally well on YouTube. So please continue to watch. Please continue to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. There's a new we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube for the Pop Report. So if you have not subscribed yet, definitely be sure to subscribe and support us. It's a really easy way to support the show. So go give it some love. Like our videos, watch our videos. I have a playlist on my channel here that you can watch new episodes of the Pop Report on. You can also find the channel on my YouTube channel as well. There's a link out there for the Pop Report on YouTube. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's get into the tea. But please support. Andy and I work very hard on the show. Andy especially is really working very hard on the Pop Report. So if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe and show us lots of love. It's a very easy, free way that you can support us. That said, let's talk about Dorit Kemsley. Hi, Dorit. So Dorit was just caught outside of what restaurant was it? Caspia in Beverly Hills. Where is Caspia? Let's see. Kaspia, Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills. Caviar Kaspia is what it's called. Beyond a restaurant, a true art of living space since 1927. The location stays true to the origins of Caviar Kaspia while feeling at home in LA. At the LA location, you'll find modern metal arcs and intimate outdoor dining. I feel like this is the restaurant that remember a couple or not a couple, but a few seasons ago when yay, thank you guys. Subscribe. Thank you, Miss Kristen. Thank you, Laura Rains. Mallory says Pop Report is so good. Yay, I'm glad, guys. Thank you. Um, funny story. I thought all along you were saying Paw Report or like the doggies. Who's the daddy? Um, but so Caspia, I think Caviar Kaspia is where I believe Lisa Vanderpump had dinner with Kyle and Dorit. It was that really bad season of Beverly Hills when they were fighting over who's a better friend to Lisa. And remember, Lisa's like, I'm not doing this. And she left and she drove off. And then they have like Kyle and Dorit's faces and they're like on the sidewalk. I think this is the same. It looks like the same restaurant. But so that's where she was. It was a very interesting a very interesting interview with TMZ that Dorit's like walking out of the restaurant. It looks like she's like waiting for her car, waiting for an Uber or something. And they're like, Dorit, what's going on? How are you and PK doing? Are you guys planning on making up? So it was just weird because she was like, "Oh," like, she was trying to be really coy, but at the same time, it also felt like she was kind of loving the attention because she was kind of just, like, walking around. She looked like a streetwalker. She was just, like, walking up and around the sidewalk, like, really slow, waiting for her car, like, just knowing that the car was not showing up anytime soon, but she decided to walk out onto the sidewalk. Um I don't know. It was kind of a bizarre interview, and it kind of felt like it was a little staged, or at least she was prepared. But they asked her how she's doing with PK, and she's like, "We're trying to make it work. Right now, our focus is on the kids." And they're like, "Do you see a path to mend for you guys?" And she's just like, "I don't know. We would both have to want to do that. We both have to want to be on the same page about moving forward and getting back together." And it kind of sounded like maybe PK is the one that doesn't want to reunite, or at least she tried to pin it off on PK because she was like, she was just trying to make it seem like we both have to be on the same page, which made me assume that she's on one page and he's not on that page. And maybe he's not wanting to get back together, or he's not doing the things that she's requiring of him so that they can get back together. I feel like that's kind of an easy cop out, though. When you're done with the relationship and you're like, these are the things that I need from you. You need to change this. Otherwise, I'm done. And then you kind of know that that person, when you've been with them long enough, you know whether or not they're actually going to make those changes or they are who they are. And when they can't change, then you can blame them and be like, see, these are the things that I needed you to change about yourself, even though I knew who you were. These are the things that I needed you to change about yourself. And if you can't change them, then I'm done. Brian says when PK said Dorit needs to get past the break in and then dressed her up like a prostitute for Pretty Woman, I pretty much figured allegedly he was banging someone else in London. I mean, I don't think any of us would be surprised. I'm pretty sure that comes out on the new season, but that's what she teases as well. She's like, you're gonna have to watch the new season. She's like, I'm mentioning it all. I'm talking about everything. I'm putting it all out there. I felt like maybe it was a bit of a nod at Kyle, because Kyle was obviously hiding her marital issues with Mauricio and hiding her relationship with Morgan Wade. So I think Dorit's kind of like, well, I'm putting it all out there. I'm putting all like this is my reality. This is our real life. This is what we're really going through. And I have to make sure I put it all out there. So Brian says, I kind of think Dorit knew PK had a side piece in London, allegedly. Yeah, listen, you always know. Even if you like speculate otherwise, you always know. Your gut never lies to you. And I'm pretty sure she knew that PK was. Listen, if the rumors were out there and Sutton was talking about it on the show last season, or was it the season prior where he was in the car with another woman, allegedly, he's staying over there for months at a time. There's not as big of a housewives, I think, obsession, like the way that a lot of Americans are obsessed with Housewives because it's shot here. But I mean, obviously, Housewives has an international audience, but I don't think the people are as fixated on Housewives in the UK, where I think he has a little more freedom. And I think he knew how to get around that. And he has friends out there that are probably going to protect him and, keep his little secret. And I wouldn't be surprised. So, yeah. Mallory says, can we talk about how Jax continues to dog on Danny from the Valley, apparently on their Schwartz and Jax Vandercrawl? He said Danny has been kicked out of Jax's bar the most. Listen, from what I've heard, there's a lot more to Danny's drinking that we didn't get to see on the show last season. And I think it's because when you are launching a new show, you really need to hone in on one specific storyline that's going to be the juiciest, the biggest scandal, and that relates to the people you know the most, right? So I think the Michelle stuff and as it related to Kristen and Jax getting messy in the middle of all of that, I think that was the driving storyline. And then obviously Jax and Brittany became more of a forefront in the storyline because they separated once the season ended. So I think those were the two central things that were mostly focused on since the Valley was a shorter first season. Well, a shorter season because it was the first season. I would imagine they get a few more episodes for season 2, which I believe they begin filming. If they haven't already, they begin filming this month. So yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Danny will be center focus of the new season for sure. Oh, are we calling him Danny Paddington Bear? He's so cute, though. I like Danny. He's such a hunka. Listen, I will take him and his drinking problem any day. He's a cutie. He is a hunka burning love, and I like it. But it does sound like there's more to him and his drinking that we didn't get to see that we will probably get to see in the new season. And now that we know these people a little bit more, now I'm sure we can start to lean into some of the other storylines with some of the newbies. Drunky Danny. Yeah, I wonder if he keeps vodka in his purse with grapefruit juice. Just, just curious. Just throwing that out there. Now you won't be able to unsee it now that PK's Paddington Bear. No, PK's Paddington Bear. Oh, yeah. Now I can see it. They're my favorite couple on the Valley. Well, they might not be for long, Laura. The couples that look the best are always the one. You'd drink too if that was your group of friends. Well, they all drink, including Brittany. Can you talk about Louis and his continuing manipulation tactics, individual dates with Teresa's daughters? Is that manipulation? I don't know. I mean, why is he going on individual dates with the daughters? That's weird. I don't know. That's kind of strange. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with Dorit and PK. She's saying we're going to lean into all of it. I'm hoping we get Beverly. Yeah, I believe Beverly Hills wraps filming this month. They go on their cast trip and then the season wraps. So, and the cast trip is coming up. So this month, I believe. So it'll be done. I'm hoping we get Beverly Hills by December, maybe January. We'll see. We have Potomac coming up, which is, I believe is already wrapped filming, has it? Well, we have Salt Lake City that's coming up, which has definitely wrapped filming. I hear that the trailer is coming next week for Salt Lake City, and we're getting at the end of the summer, early fall. So we have Salt Lake City coming back. We have New York that's already wrapped and coming back soon. I mean, Dubai's on, but Dubai's really struggling. We have OC that's about to air this week. So we've got Housewives is coming back to life, right? We got some Housewives shows that will be returning. I don't know what's happening with Atlanta. It looks like Portia is a lot closer to confirming. We're not going to get a lot of Portia though, because most of the season's already been filmed. So anything we get of Portia will probably be the last third of the season, and it'll probably just be a couple of cameos, or maybe she'll film the last like 4 episodes, if anything. But I don't think we're gonna get much of Phaedra, even though people are like so excited to have her back. So yeah, we got Potomac, Salt Lake, and New York. Beverly Hills is wrapping production. Atlanta should be wrapping production soon, so we'll see. I hope Dorit's tagline is "This Beverly Beach is out to spill the tea." Oh, Cassie says I have a couple of seasons of OC to catch up on. Looking forward to the new season. You actually don't. You can. I actually maybe last season, if you wanna catch up on something, catch up on last season, but I feel like the season prior, the couple of seasons prior, you can kinda skip. They weren't the Bronwyn seasons, we don't really need to relive. Maybe in a few years when you look back at them, you're like, "Wow, Bronwyn was crazy. Those seasons were wild." Elizabeth Vargas, she was she was an interesting character with the cult stuff, like, it was interesting, but last season was good. This season is definitely gonna be good. So I would say you don't need to do a full rewatch. OC is going to be great. Yeah, I can't wait for OC. Okay, let's get into some summer house tea. But first, I do want to give some love and a shout out to Yum Wolf. You guys know I feed my doggies only the best, and that's why I feed them Yum Wolf. So, Yum Wolf Perfect Kibble is not like any other kibble. It's not dry food. I mean, it is dry, but it's 14 simple ingredients, gluten free, baked. So, all of the nutrients are still there. And it's just good, healthy food for your dogs. It's real food. So I definitely recommend if you have a pup, if you have a dog, it's perfect for dogs of all ages. It's healthy. It also has cocoa megas in it, which, if you know the founder, Jaron, you know that he's really big on cocoa megas. He wrote a book about it and why they're so important for our furry friends. So definitely check out Yum Wolf. You can get 30% off. Like I said, it's 14 simple ingredients, gluten free, all baked, yummy for your pups. They'll love it. It's even so good. It's so clean that you can eat it yourself. I went on Instagram and I ate it to show you guys it's actually decent and good for humans as well. I mean, it could use a little salt if you're going to eat your dog's food, but other than that, I think it's actually pretty good. You can give them a try at Yum Wolf. That's YUMWOOF, yumwolf.com/ZACK, and you'll get 30% off your first order. That's yumwolf.com/ZACK, Zach. Yumwolf.com/Zach, and get 30% off. Go right now. Okay. And also, I love me some dry farm wines. I mean, that's what's been getting me through my days. Making my way downtown, dry farm wines. It's good, clean wine, and there's no hangovers. I call it my hangover free wine because I don't get that gnarly wine headache, and it's because there are no toxic additives in it. It's good, clean wine. Okay. So give it a try. It's vegan, it's keto friendly, it's low carb, it's paleo friendly. So if you're doing the keto paleo thing, you can absolutely get some dry farm wines. It's a curated box that is curated to your preferences, that they ship directly to your door. So you don't even have to get embarrassed going to the cashier and having him judge your life because you keep getting wine every day. Now you just have it shipped to your door and nobody has to know. And you don't have to worry about getting cheap $2 chucks. It's good quality premium wine. I like to call it my hangover free wine. Low carb, gluten free, vegan, keto friendly, paleo friendly, third party, lab tested for purity. Give them a try. Go to dryfarmwines.com/Zach. Dryfarmwines.com/ZACK. Not CH. Stop spelling my name wrong. ZACK. Dryfarmwines.com/Zach. Give them a try. You're not going to regret it. I've been drinking it for years. The way the bodega doesn't judge you. That bodega does judge me. Jason's judges me, the bodega judges me. That's how often I'm drinking. But that's why when I have a wine shipment sent from Dry Farm Wines, I don't have to worry about that because it's all discreet. Okay. Ooh, I need to blow my nose. I might have to sneeze. My nose is running. trying to just stay alive right now. We live in life. Okay, let's talk Summer House and Lindsay Hubbard. So Lindsay Hubbard's baby daddy has been revealed officially. Um, Not really a shocker to anyone because it was already going around online and going around on Reddit. And now he is all out and on display each and every day, every day, every day. He's a cutie, right? His name is shit, sorry, I have Turner, Dr. Turner Kufi. Koof? I mean, I would to me it looks like it could be Queef. Kufe, Kufi, Koof, Turner Koof. Um, Yeah, he's a cutie. He's, it looks like a good, he's a bloke. Um, Listen, here's the thing, because there's this whole, like, people are torn. And I put this up on TikTok and I put this up on Instagram. And I was like, listen, when you're a reality star and you live your life, your personal life on a television show and on social media, and your pregnancy announcement is a sponsorship, you're announcing, your pregnancy while getting paid to do so, which is a privileged position to be in, and you're in this position because of the job that you have and because of how open and transparent you are and because you know that the audience is interested in your personal life. At what point, like, how much privacy are you allowed, are you owed, and how much, interest in your personal life are people? My thing is, it's like, you're dating a public person. This public person is sharing your pregnancy. This guy, Turner, she's sharing your pregnancy publicly. She's signing a sponsorship endorsement to announce her pregnancy with Clear Blue. She's going on for another season of Summer House. I think if you really want to protect your partner's identity, it's one thing to be like, he's not public, right? Same thing with like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. She didn't want to bring Kanye in the show. They didn't want to really have the kids be part of the storylines on the show because they wanted them to remain private, right? Kanye did not sign up for Keeping Up with the Kardashians. He has filmed a couple of times in support of Kim while they were married, but from the beginning, she was always just like, listen, you're not going to see much about my marriage on the show because I'm keeping that private. That doesn't mean that she concealed his identity. When you're a public figure, people are going to find you. Paparazzi are going to photograph you. Someone like Lindsay, who likes to call the paparazzi, um, they're going to eventually figure out who this guy is. It was going to come out at some point, right? I think she should have just been open from the beginning and just said, this is who he is. He has a really important government job. He wants to remain private. He's not going to be on the show. I'm not going to talk about him on the show. However, you know, there's no secret as to who he is because she was never going to be able to keep that secret in the bag. He was going to be found out eventually. And the more she tried to conceal it, the more people became interested in it. Kat says, I think it's very hard on a reality star when that happens. I'm sure Lindsay would love for him to be public with her, but as someone who's married, I can't force my husband to do anything. Right. It's fine that he doesn't want to film the show. It's fine that he doesn't want to be on her Instagram. All of those things are completely fine. He wants no part of her public life. But I don't think that it's fair to assume that the audience is not going to be curious in at least his name, his identity. Like, here's the thing, if she would have come out and she's like, this is who he is. He's a doctor. Here's a photo of us together. Like, the fact that she didn't want him, she couldn't even post a photo with him on her Instagram, which I think was a little dramatic. But yet he has public social media accounts, right? He has an Instagram account where he has a profile picture and his name. So he's on social media. Yes, it is a private account. That's fair. But he also has a public LinkedIn account. So it's not like he's completely off the grid and wants no part of public life. He does have public social media accounts and he's dating a very public person. So at what point, like, is that expectation too high to keep him a complete secret, right? I would also understand, like, when celebrities want to like hide their kids, right? Like Kristen Cavallari doesn't want to show her kids' faces, so she'll often post like emojis over their faces. That way people can't see them. That's fair. I get that. Totally valid, right? They're kids. They're not, you know, old enough to make certain conscious decisions about being public. Him, on the other hand, I think it's a little different, you know? Um, He's the vice president of research and investments at Royalty Pharma. He lives in New York. Listen, I get it. I know he wanted to remain private. I didn't have any interest in discussing him. And even when I talked about it yesterday, had no interest in discussing him. I wasn't going to reveal his name. But then, people reported his name and Us Weekly reported his name and Page Six reported his name. And that's fair, right? The press has been doing this. When you're a public person, there are parts of your life that are just going to be of public interest. And I think, again, the more you hide things, the more people want to know. Sharon said, "You would automatically know." Wait, you would automatically know you will be out there if you're dating a public person. It's part of the gig. That's like Meghan Markle saying, "I didn't know Prince Harry was a prince. He introduced himself as Prince Harry, but I didn't know that that meant he was like a prince to the queen." When she tried to play down, like, "Oh, I had no idea who he was." Like, bull fucking shit. You knew who he was. You signed up for the public life. You signed up for the royal family life. Bull fucking shit. Cry me a river, sister. She got everything that she wanted out of that without having to fulfill the royal duties of being part of the royal family. Period. End of story. Brian says, as someone that works in biotech and biopharma, that's why I'm in India, I bet I can get some intel on Royalty Pharma. What is Royalty Pharma? Ooh. But see, even Brian, you're not a very public person, but you have a public social media account. And you're chatting in, the live chat here that I don't know. I just, if you really want to be off the grid, you're not going to have any social media accounts. You don't need a LinkedIn profile. Your career is doing just fine. You're A-okay. There are plenty of people that don't have public social media accounts. There was also some photos of Carl Radkey with his new girlfriend, or this new girl, which to me sounded like a paparazzi plant, or not sounded, it looked like a paparazzi plant. There were these photos of them together at a bar and walking out of some restaurant, right? Or it like down to the exit of some restaurant. Um, but to me, that would be so looking at the photos, you don't see this girl's face. You only see her from behind. I'm like, from the angle though, like you very clearly see Carl's face. You can see that it's Carl Radke. I'm pretty sure that this person didn't only get these two photos. I think that this person was planted. They were told where to be, what time to get photos of Carl, and they were instructed to not get this woman's face. And I believe whoever set this up, Carl or somebody on his team, they set it up to deflect, to show that like Carl's good. He's moving on. He doesn't care that Lindsay's pregnant. He's doing fine. It was to craft this narrative that he is A-okay. Danny says, I agree, Kat, but the way she's reaching out to podcasters and social media creators is a bit much, in my opinion. Well, not only is she reaching out to bloggers and podcasters and content creators, she's reaching out to the press as well. I believe it was strange because when Us Weekly reported it, they said that People was the first to report on his identity, that People confirmed his identity first. But then when you click the link to go see the People article where they confirmed this, it was gone. So it looks like it's possible that People published the article and then took it back. I'm wondering if who the original author of the article was Dave Quinn, because I know Dave Quinn was kind of intertwined with Lindsay. And remember there was like a back in April, he tweeted about like some big news is about to drop. And the next thing you know, he's off Twitter and no news ends up dropping and nobody hears from Dave Quinn. And then suddenly he comes back with the exclusive that Lindsay's pregnant. Something about it was a little interesting. But so it looked like People did a Control Alt Delete. Let's go back and let's delete this article and not reveal his identity. So then Us Weekly jumped on it. They published it, reported that People was the first to reveal this information. And then they updated the article. They added a little update blurb that basically said, so it sounded like Lindsay reached out to Us Weekly directly and was like, how dare you release his identity? Here are all the reasons I don't want his identity out there, which may have worked at People. But Us Weekly was savage. And they just added that update at the top of the article that basically said, Lindsay revealed why she doesn't want his identity out there. And here are the reasons that Lindsay said she doesn't want his identity out there. And here's the article and here's his identity. Like they weren't going to take it back. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. And so at that point, I was just like, well, but when you go that hard and you're like getting mad at bloggers and you're getting mad at reporters and you're getting mad at content creators and you're like DMing people, going off on people, like I know friends that she has gone off of because they have mentioned his name. To me, that's silly. She hasn't DM'd me, but I mean, at this point, it's literally all out there, so there's no going back. There's nothing left. So, it's out there. But again, when you try so hard to conceal it, that's what makes it, you know, that's what makes people more interested in it, you know? And again, it comes back to the question of like, well, how much like your whole career was built off of sharing your personal life, sharing your dating life, all of this stuff. So much so that even when it came to your pregnancy, you were able to do a sponsorship deal with your pregnancy. And I'm not mad at her for doing that. Get your coin, girl. Like you got a baby to provide for, get all the money you can rack. And I am all in support of that. But I think that there's just a big expectation to not have people ask the natural questions of who is the father? Very natural, you know? Lindsay can't have it both ways. I agree. You can't want to have parts of your life that are private, but then also want the benefits of living your life publicly and gaining the fame and the notoriety and the perks of living your life publicly. You have to pick a lane. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the paradox of a world that we're in. You can't have it both ways. Danny says, I still like her and can't wait to see her messy type ASAP on Summer House. Yep, and I'm pretty sure she's going to use this as a way to turn herself into the victim on Summer House. And she'll be like, I'm trying to not ruin this relationship because it's so good. And I've known him for a whole 2 months, but it's so good. This is my end all be all. So. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. Just punched myself in the face. Someone said, your sound is choppy. So I tried to adjust it and then I clocked myself. It's been a minute since I've had something charge at my face like that, especially in this shape. We're all public figures now. Well, I mean, that's kind of an argument. I mean, if you're on social media, if you have a public social media account, if you're sharing parts of your life, like photos or whatever, you know, I think that's all you're essentially, falling into the category of becoming a public figure. Foolish to exploit her pregnancy and hopefully, um, I don't know if I would say it's foolish to exploit her pregnancy. She's allowed to share her pregnancy publicly, but I do think it's foolish to share your pregnancy publicly and not expect the public to have an interest in your pregnancy journey, which includes the man that you're dating. A doctor that doesn't wear a condom. Interesting. We don't know that. We don't know that. They dated in the past. Oh, have they? Interesting. Maybe they've hooked up in the past. We don't know because we don't know anything about him. And now we have questions. Okay, let's talk about Hannah Berner. So Hannah Berner has a new special on Netflix, a new comedy special. And so she was just chatting with Dave Portnoy at Barstool Sports about getting fired from Summer House and her basically talking about how this is the sweetest revenge because it's the sweetest revenge because she got fired because of Kyle, right? And so she says that without saying that, basically. She talks about how in that final season of Summer House, she did a truly deal. Obviously, Kyle has Loverboy. Loverboy is a seltzer, hard tea, um, canned alcoholic beverage in competition with a brand like Truly. Truly is a big brand. Truly has a lot of money behind it. So they are competitors, and it's a lot harder to compete with the Truly because they have a lot more money and resources. Kyle talks about or has talked about, I believe he addressed this on a podcast he did a couple months ago when all the Craig stuff came out. And he said that like he didn't get Lindsay fired, that, he has no control over how people get fired from the show or not. But so Hannah's talking about this again, and she's just like, because they asked her, like, was it hard for you to get fired from Summer House? She was like, yes, it was hard getting fired from Bravo. She said, but having this new Netflix special is the ultimate revenge. She's like, I launched a comedy career from this. I've done stand-up tours. I have a comedy special on Netflix, which is huge. Because like who else has comedy specials on Netflix? Ellen. Joe Rogan just announced that he's coming back with his first comedy special in 6 years. So, like, that's major for her, and I think that that's a really big deal and good for her, and congrats to her, and she's doing her press tour right now, and I ain't mad at her. But she says that because she did that Truly ad, that Truly partnership, which she's just like, "We drink Loverboy all the time. We were constantly promoting Loverboy on Summer House," that it's crazy that, it was such a bad reaction. But she says that egos got involved and basically they cut her out and they didn't want to be her friend anymore. And which I understand, because it feels like there is a level of betrayal, but I don't know how deep her friendship with Kyle went. It sounds like my understanding is because she refers to more than one person and she refers to them and egos getting involved. So I'm assuming she's referring to Kyle, Amanda, and Carl, because Kyle and Amanda and Carl were all working for Loverboy at the time. So I think they would feel hurt and like their livelihood was hit in some way because of her endorsement of another canned alcoholic beverage. Wanda says, Dave, unlike Nick Vile, sometimes he has points and sometimes it's like listening to him make you want to face palm constantly. Um, Dave or Nick? Laura says she wasn't great on the last season of Summer House. I agree. She wasn't great. But I think her in this comedy lane, killing it, doing great. Very happy for her. And I think she even got Paige like an IMDb credit for like styling her for the special, which like that's a good girlfriend, right? You have your girl's back, you book her a job, make sure she has a credit as a stylist. That way she can build a career with that moving forward. Good for her. Um But I agree, she wasn't great on the show in her final season, but it ultimately led to this new career in comedy, and she's like, "It's the best revenge." You get fired from one network, she was like, "It felt like I had nothing, it felt like I lost everything," because I was on Summer House, I was on Bravo Chat Room, remember the talk show with who was on it? Portia and Giselle and Kate Chastain and Hannah Berner, they all had that Bravo. It was a virtual talk show that they were all hosting from home together. They were recapping Bravo news. Not the best show, to be honest with you, or not the best cast, not the best. Like it was just weird doing it COVID times and also like doing it separately, not with them not really knowing each other, having that like organic chemistry. It was just interesting. But she's doing better. And she said, F you, Kyle. She's living life and she's gonna drink all the truly she wants. Okay, Brian has an update for us on Royalty Pharma. Royalty Pharma is an interesting business that purchases business royalty rights to biopharma products. So any marketing and sales of, say, a cancer drug gives Royalty Pharma a percentage for the profit. Interesting. Hannah looked beautiful during her special, and that orange popped so good off the blue background. Well, there you go. You can thank Paige DeSorbo for that one. But I hate when reality stars do that, right? When they wanna, like, ice somebody out of the cast, and they're like, "Well, I technically don't have the power to get them fired." But you also know that when you choose to cut somebody out of your friend group, and that friend group is super dependent on or that show is dependent on that friend group, mm, you kind of know what you're doing. Although there are cases with like Teresa and Melissa where the conflict is so great that they continue to lean into it in a film with both of them regardless. But then there are also times where when a cast member does feel like they're isolated and they're on an island, it's not worth bringing them back because they have no organic connections, which in some cases works, like with Shannon Bedore or with Dorit Kemsley, but we'll see. You know what's interesting? I also saw that Giselle Bryan and Robin Dixon um, are in this like weird lawsuit with Eminem because their podcast is called Slim Shady and they wanted to trademark their podcast sorry, their podcast is called Reasonably Shady and Eminem is known as Slim Shady, which I don't know if people still really know Eminem as Slim Shady, but he does have the trademark for Slim Shady, Shady, and oh fuck, what was the last one? It was Slim Shady and a little lightly shady or something like that. So them wanting to trademark their podcast as Reasonably Shady, his attorneys came in and they're like, nah, that's piggybacking off of our brand. They're going to think that he's endorsing it. They're going to think he's in some way connected to it, which I disagree with because I feel like the term shady is no longer associated with Eminem. Like maybe Eminem in his prime, we all knew him as Slim Shady, but nobody's referring to Eminem as Slim Shady anymore. You know him as Marshall Mathers and you know him as Eminem. Nobody's really, I mean, he hasn't even really put out any new music. So for them to make the argument that people will automatically assume that Robin and Giselle, two housewives from Potomac, are going to be hosting a podcast that's endorsed by Eminem really just sounds silly. But I believe his daughter also has a podcast called A Little Bit Shady. Obviously, he's allowing A Little Bit Shady and A Little Bit Shady and Reasonably Shady. It sounds like maybe he wants to shut down Reasonably Shady so that his daughter can continue her new A Little Bit Shady podcast. But I don't know. Leslie says Eminem just put out a new song. Yeah, he's trying to have a comeback, which I'm excited about. I do love Eminem's music. He's savage. He's very shady. He's not even a little bit shady. He's not reasonably shady. He is shady AF. So yeah. I'm on Eminem's side. I'm not on Eminem's side. I just don't think that he makes a strong enough point that people like nobody was listening to Reasonably Shady and had and thought anything related to Eminem. I think the term shady has become like a commonly used term, just like tea, spilling tea. Like that's become a commonly used term when it comes to gossip. And I think shady is not, it's meant it's talked about like throwing shade, and I don't think there's any association to Eminem at all. So I'm not on Eminem's side for the legal purposes. We're on appeal for legal reasons. But the other interesting part too is Robin and Giselle were trying to depose Eminem and have him like appear in court and speak on the lawsuit, which to me is just like, okay, now you guys are doing the most. Now you want Eminem to show up in court so he can talk about Reasonably Shady, and like you're just trying to have a moment with Eminem. Like, come on. And I believe that was not happened. That was denied, and I believe his attorney will speak on his behalf. Shady is back. Song is called Houdini. Song is bomb. Ooh, I'm gonna have to listen to it today. Thank you, Katie. End said, well, T didn't start as T with a capital T like truth. T didn't start as teapot. It was capital T like truth. Oh, why? Why was it? I need a history lesson on where T came from. I just don't like those girls. Yeah, I don't really like them either. I don't want to be on their side. But like, you know. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for you. Like I said, if you have a story that you want to submit for Disaster Daters, submit it right now. Type it up in an email and email it to Disaster Daters Podcast right now. Disaster Daters Podcast at gmail.com. Disaster Daters Podcast at gmail.com. So go right now. Disasterdaterspodcast at gmail.com. Send in your stories so we can recap it on the show and stay tuned. You'll hear your story play out. You can remain anonymous. Just let us know what you want us to call you. So when you sign off the email, you can use whatever anonymous pseudonym you want to use. Okay. Let us know. And also, please continue to support the Pop Report. We have new episodes that drop every Wednesday and Friday. We have a new episode that dropped on Wednesday of this week, so you can tune into that right now. And be sure to subscribe on the YouTube. Like I said, we're so close to hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. So please continue to show. Listen, if No Filter can have 50,000 subscribers, we can definitely get the Pop Report to to 1,000, right? Just to one. Okay. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Please continue to send me well wishes. I am dying. But I love you. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you soon. Stay tuned. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a good Saturday, Sunday, Friday. No new episode on Friday. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But New Disaster Daters will be out next Tuesday. We have Bruno Alcantara that's on right now. Andy and I are breaking more. Give me more. Give me more. All right. Ciao for now, guys. Have a good one. Love you, mean it. Give me a follow. Just Pink Zach to keep up with me. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zach, and I will talk to you later, skater. Bye, 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 bye.